100% the truth. Then we look at 12 through 14, further amend said bill and demonstrate the ability to manage such facilities. We're pulling that out. I made that decision. It's redundant. If you have an operating permit, that's part of the operating permit. Okay, so putting that language in again, we don't see it's any problem. I think that the senator from Newton, I'm not going to speak, but we agreed to that or discussed that. Even today we were having a discussion over a piece of this morning. 15 through 17, I was a person, and some of you that were paid attention yesterday when I voted on the landfill, I see these things 20 years down the road getting blended. I went ahead and stayed as a no on the landfill bill because of that half mile will change to a mile and we'll be putting somebody else out of business or something, and then nobody will mind the 200 feet from my house probably. It's a NIMBY deal. So I wanted to go 3,000 feet. The senator and other people working on this just were not willing to do that, so we agreed on this. This, I believe, takes care of the problem they have and where we're at. Okay, 18 through 21. Again, it's a designing thing, open basin, vessel. You got to get into the weeds a little bit, but vessels, closed container, et cetera, and this language has been agreed upon. And then the last thing, when we look at E. coli and fecal coliform, I want everybody to know that will be tested. One of the senators in here that her and I discussed water quality, she even knows that I've got a river by my house that has higher level of E. coli. This will continue to be tested. These are the things that are tested. When we discuss the salmonella, at least my research says that the salmonella part that somebody may be concerned on, where that's a concern is people that spread organic material on crops that you and I are going to eat. And sometimes, you know, if you get a cantaloupe makes you sick, it might be somebody didn't turn that part of the irrigation off, and this has nothing, that has nothing to do with what's going on with this part of the industry. It's not going on food crops, et cetera. So, any questions?
Any further discussion on amendment number 1? Senator McCreary.
I kind of wish we had been able to do this as you went through. So at the top of your amendment on page 4, so what do you mean by regardless of operational control over land application fields? Like, what does that actually mean in English?
Operational control is when myself, if we decide to use this product or any other product, maybe from a CAFO at home, on our operation control belongs to the farmer, he or she, that is accepting the product. When you do if you do a long-range plan and you nail those people, you nail myself down to, okay, I've got to follow this rotation. Bean, corns, you know, maybe throw wheat in. We don't do that much anymore within our plan. You would end up possibly being locked into, you would be locked into that if you made a long-term agreement with the people you're accepting this product from. So today, corn doesn't look as good financially for farmers at home. So we do have people, because of input costs, changing over to beans. That could possibly open up another place for this product to go for another year. The same could be opposite. What if I decide I sign a long-term contract and I decide I'm going to turn this into a hayfield, you know, and I no longer want to do it. So that's what year to year make the decisions. The companies, you know, that do this are still going to be required to find. So if I say no, they have to go someplace else. I don't want to get locked into a contract where I can't make decisions on any of our farms. Is that helpful to understand that?
Yeah. So it's like, is it a way that each farmer or corporation that owns the farm ultimately gets to decide?
Well, if a corp gets to decide what they're going to grow and whether they're going to accept the product.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. That's the way. Yeah, I think in a way that would be it. And not locking us into, if I sign a contract, a long-term plan, and then me raise my hands and say no.
But if you signed a contract,
huh?
If you signed a contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't want it to be a long-term operational contract. You get that not for 4 or 5 years. It needs to allow the producer to have a yearly decision-making process
Okay.
and not be locked into anything. So I end up getting sued because I tell you, no, I'm not going to accept it. I'm changing to this plan.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Any further discussion on Senate Committee Amendment Number 1? Senator Razor?
Senator, how long is long-term? Give us
Well-
a time frame, like, just tell
Well,
me.
if you ended up in
3,
a,
5, 10 years?
yes.
10
Yeah,
years?
if you ended up in a contract that I signed, because you're going to end up probably in some form of a contract. I'm willing to keep that contract short, and not because of rules we put in legislation force us to be in a 5-year plan, 7-year plan, to be able to get the operational permit from DNR. Is that,
Yeah, I just wasn't sure, when you say long-term, if you meant 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or 20, like, I was just trying to put a time frame to it.
yeah, I'm going to say the vast majority of those kind of contracts are decided somewhere in a 5-year range primarily. Because the same thing happens on the CAFO side as well, right?
Further discussion on Senate Committee Amendment Number 1? Hearing none, all those in favor of Senate Committee Number 1, Senate Committee Amendment Number 1, if I can get that out, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Senate Committee Amendment Number 1 is passed. I have an amendment to send forward as well. Kyle, do you care to distribute the? This will be Senate Committee Amendment Number 2. This is basically the water export bill that we heard on the floor. We included all the amendments that were put on the bill. They included Senator McCreary's amendments, Senator Moon's amendments that were put on there. This passed out of the House 114 to 35. Representative Lewis actually voted yes on this. So I move to adopt Senate Committee Amendment Number 2. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any discussion?
You know, the evening that we had the debate over the state putting in some basic rules for water exportation, I got the sense from some of our colleagues that there was still work that needed to be done on it. So are you willing to still, like, let us, you know?
100%.
Because, like, I saw,
Absolutely.
I'd have to look at my file, but I heard some of my colleagues say, well, what do you mean by state of emergency?
Right.
You know, so I'm open to defining that more. So this is still a work in progress.
Absolutely. And Kyle, do you want to explain the amendment?
Sure. Senate Committee Amendment 2 offered by Senator Bean. The substance of the amendment is the Senate sub for Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 782, which was debated on the Senate floor during Monday's session. The amendment changes the title of the bill from water pollution to water pollution and exportation. The committee amendment before you has incorporated some of the floor amendments that were adopted during perfection on Monday evening. In addition, the amendment addresses additional issues that were raised during perfection, including increasing the mileage limitation from 20 to 30 miles requested by the Kansas City delegation. The language from Senator McCreary's amendment, after DNR reviews a permit application, it now goes to review by both the Clean Water Commission and the State Soil and Water Districts Commission. We also specified the criteria to which the Clean Water Commission and the State Soil and Water Districts Commission should use when they're evaluating the permit applications the DNR director gives them. We also added basic rulemaking authority for DNR to define the operational aspects of the two-commission review. We also added the definition of end use to provide additional clarity. And then we also have the state of emergency language from Senator McCreary's amendment on the floor. And then we added to that to include references to the United States Drought Monitor.
Any further discussion on Senate Committee Amendment Number 2?
I have a
Senator Carter.
concern. I mean, I had no idea you were going to drop this amendment today.
Okay.
So just as a courtesy, it would have been nice to know that you were going to drop this amendment.
I understand that, Senator. We've been pretty busy. We're getting late in session. This is part of the process.
So I'm going to vote no.
Any further discussion on Senate Committee Amendment Number 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of Senate Committee Number 2, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. You have adopted Senate Committee Amendment Number 2. Any further discussion on adopting the committee substitute as amended? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of adopting the committee substitute as amended, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. We have adopted the committee substitute. The amendments will be adopted now and be rolled into the new committee substitute. I make a motion to vote Senate committee substitute for House committee substitute for House Bills 2134 and 1956 out, do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Kyle, please call the roll.
Senators Bean,
Aye.
Black, Bernstetter, Brown, Carter, Crawford, McCreary, Razor, Washington.
By your vote of 8-0, you have voted Senate Committee Substitute for House Committee Substitute for House Bills 2134 and 1956 out, do pass. I make a motion that we move out of executive session. I have a second. We are out of executive session. No further business coming for the meeting. I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, say no. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.